What's up guys, it's Aaron from Really Visuals, and in today's video we are checking out this new monitor, the Desview R6 UHB. And you may be thinking to yourself, oh, what's this? It's just another monitor, but check this out. So you're looking at 2,800 nits of brightness. So let's find out why that's a good thing right after this intro. So one of the big complaints about field monitors, that a lot of these lower end models, they're just not really all that bright, which makes them somewhat useless on really sunny and bright days. Most include a sunshade, which does help to a degree, but more often than not, you're still gonna have to kind of like squint to try and see over the reflections and light and that bright sun. And okay, we live in the UK, so sunny days aren't really that common, but for those of you in sunnier climes, this is a really big problem. Well, worry not, because Desview has a monitor for you guys, which is the new R6 UHB, which stands for ultra high brightness. It's a monitor designed to keep you shooting even on those super sunny days with a maximum peak brightness of a whopping 2,800 nits. This thing gets so bright, they don't even include a freaking sunshine. They're like, nah, we good. This is stronger than the sun. But is it any good? Well, let's find out together. So firstly, is it expensive? Thankfully, the Desview R6 only has an RRP of about $279 US. So this puts it firmly in the kind of upper level of budget orientated field monitors. But I think at this price point, considering what you get, this will be a really appealing option. There are cheaper options available for sure, but if you spend that little bit extra on a device like this, there are certain luxuries that you get. And there's definitely nothing budget about this screen. So it's a 5.5 inch full HD touchscreen, which accepts up to 4K input and output. You get a pixel density of 401 ppi and a contrast ratio of 1000:1, which is great for a screen of this size, meaning you get really sharp, vivid, and clean looking video feed. That to my eye looks very color accurate as well. So just to put that into context, an iPhone 12 Pro Max has a PPI of 458. So if you know how good that screen looks, this is pretty much nearly on par with that. The star of the show though really is that peak brightness of 2,800 nits, which really does make this monitor stand out from the crowd. So we've used a number of different monitors in the past at different kind of price points, and honestly none of them comes close to this. Like even in direct harsh sunlight, you're still able to use it and see very clearly. I mean, they don't even include a sunshade, which gives you an idea of how bright this gets. The fact that most budget monitors are just simply not really usable on sunny days makes this a really big selling point for the R6. As well as a fantastic looking screen, the actual touch interface makes using this monitor very easy and simple. So the screen is responsive, and they've added some really nice kind of shortcuts like dragging the screen on each side to control the brightness and the volume, and also a pinch to zoom. Now personally, I do like the option of having some physical buttons, so it loses a few marks for that, but overall I found the R6 very easy to use. And it does help that the actual UI is really well organized and everything is grouped together in a logical way. Sony cameras. You've only got to see the difference between this and the screen on the 60 Mark II, for example, to see what a huge impact having that bright screen can make. And when it comes to features, the R6 is no slouch in this department either. You get your usual wealth of tools such as histograms, waveforms, vector scopes, false colors, zebras, and focus peaking as well. Pretty much everything you might need to ensure you're getting video that's sharp and in focus, well exposed, and color accurate as well. And these are really especially useful for those of you using, lower end cameras like the M50 that exclude a lot of these kinds of tools. So for a relatively cheap outlay, you're getting a bunch of tools that you might have to pay a high premium to get in a more expensive camera body. Add to that, there's a headphone jack for audio monitoring, as well as an SD card to upload your own LUTs. You get a very capable and comprehensive piece of gear to add to your filmmaking arsenal. Now, in terms of the build quality, for me, it gets a solid 7 out of 10. So it's compact and lightweight at about 240 grams, but at this price point, the chassis is, all plastic. But despite that, it feels very durable and quite sturdy, and I think it could take quite a good beating, especially if you're like me and you don't really baby your equipment and you're kind of like, rough handling it a bit, throwing it in your backpack and going from shoot to shoot. But I feel like this could take quite a lot of punishment. What's interesting in the R6 is actually you have an inbuilt fan and cooling system, which is needed to keep the unit functioning and cool to keep up with that max brightness. So you can set the fan speed manually or just leave it on auto. It's not what I would call loud, but on the max setting, it is audible. Here's a little clip of it. It's not loud enough to distract from like dialogue or sound, but if you're trying to get the best audio out of something and you need complete silence, it's definitely worth noting. If you've got a decent mic that's further away and pointing towards a noise source, it's probably not going to be a big problem. It's definitely not a big deal breaker for me. This also gives you an option to use NPF or E6 batteries, as well as powering it via a DC power supply, which is probably your best bet if you're going to be filming for long periods because of that max brightness. While I use these kind of like cheaper third-party batteries, I found I was able to get about anywhere from half an hour to about an hour at that maximum brightness. So your mileage may vary here. Regardless, I'd still use a power supply for any kind of serious work. So I think that pretty much covers everything. For $279, there are a lot of different monitors you could get at this price range, but I think the R6 from Desview is probably one of the best at this price point. It's got really useful tools, has a great touchscreen, and again, that maximum brightness just makes it stand out so much. So for me, I'd have no problem recommending this for people who are looking for a great field monitor, but one that won't hurt your wallet too much. Look no further. It's the Desview R6 UHB. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you've got any questions, feel free to leave us a comment down there below. Give this video a like if you liked it, and subs if you loved it. Follow us on socials. As always, I'll see you on the next one. Thanks guys. Peace.